It's Thursday, December 29th, and this is now on HNN.
I'm hungry, I'm exhausted, I just want to go home.
Southwest Airlines cancels thousands of additional flights ahead of another holiday weekend. I'm Michael George with when the company hopes to be back to regular service.
We've learned Brazilian soccer legend Pelé has passed away at the age of 82.
We're not just going to lie down and let the beach disappear.
On Oahu's North Shore, the state celebrates a rare success story in the battle against illegal seawalls. We've got all these stories, plus comedian Chris Kattan gives us a preview of his upcoming show in Waikiki.
I like to develop new things and experiment.
That's coming up on This Is Now.
Aloha and good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. We want to start today out in Waimanalo with the story that we have been following all morning. A brief scare prompted a police investigation. HPD and military officials responded to a possible grenade found at Bellows Beach. Now, according to police officers on the scene, someone reported finding a grenade, but upon further inspection, it turned out not to be anything explosive. Authorities had closed the entrance and the exit of the beach around 7:50 a.m. due to the investigation, but all has since returned to normal. So, Jonathan, some good news out there in Waimanalo.
Well, not so good news for Southwest passengers as travel troubles continue as we take a live look at LAX at this hour. Looking pretty gloomy there in California right now. More than 13,000 Southwest flights canceled since last week's winter storm that really hammered the mainland. But it wasn't just the storm that caused those problems. It was also a scheduling and computer meltdown that went down for Southwest. With more on that, and now Southwest is telling us Friday they could see some relief. With more on that, Michael George has the latest from New York.
Southwest Airlines canceled another 2,300 flights on Thursday. That's about 58% of its schedule, according to the FlightAware tracking service.
We were boarding the plane. The pilots were there, but they didn't have a flight crew.
The carrier now says it expects to return to normal on Friday, days after the other major airlines bounced back from the Christmas storm. The travel glitches may have affected more than 1 million passengers.
You know by now, all the flexibility and planning that we put in place to deal with the storm just wasn't enough.
Unable to reach customer service reps, exhausted travelers have scrambled to rebook with other airlines or line up for a dwindling supply of rental cars.
I think I've made my last flight on Southwest. I'm going to other airlines.
And for Southwest travelers who do finally reach their destination, those who checked a bag are facing another challenge, finding lost luggage.
I was told my luggage would arrive on the next available flight that has been sent, but so far no luggage.
Hector Leon Rivera spent Christmas in California's Bay Area without his bags.
I'm hoping they're here in the mess of everything, but I have no idea.
While in Chicago, the sounds of relief. After 2 canceled Southwest flights, Patrick Keene was finally reunited with his bag.
I just haven't had this bag in a week. I've been wearing other people's clothes.
Southwest has blamed the disruptions partly on outdated scheduling systems. Both the flight attendants and pilots unions say they've complained about technological failures for years. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Yeah, the cancellation chaos has certainly thrown a wrench into so many people's plans, including one woman who said she had to cancel her wedding for Friday in Belize.
I had a lot of my family with me. I was in shock.
Katie Dimko got some very disappointing news when she arrived at St. Louis's International Airport Tuesday morning.
We went to the airport like we were, that our flight was on time. We were getting ready to board, and as we were getting ready to board, the captain came out, gave a speech, and basically told us the flight was canceled. We tried to rebook, and there was nothing. Southwest actually booked me on a flight for January 2nd. My wedding is tomorrow, December 30th. So that was past the date of the wedding. There were no flights. There are no flights until January 1st. We've looked at everything that we possibly could, and there are no flights.
Dimko says, while this is devastating for her and her fiance, she knows others are dealing with much worse. Southwest added a page to its website specifically for stranded travelers. It says all customers traveling through January 2nd are able to rebook in their original class of service or travel standby within 30 days of the original ticket date. There's also these sections for those with canceled flights. Here you may request a refund of your unused ticket to the original form of payment. There's also a reimbursement email link for those who have incurred additional out-of-pocket expenses such as hotels, other airline tickets, rental car, food, etc. And there's a form here also for those dealing with lost luggage. So if we put a link to this new website on our website, just head to Hawaii News Now's digital platforms, look for our main story on Southwest, and you'll see the link embedded there.
Let's look now to news out of our nation's capital. Hawaii News Now Washington correspondent Josh Roltenberg joins us. Aloha, Josh. Thank you so much for being here today on This Is Now. First question to you. Republican Congressman-elect George Santos has admitted to fabricating his resume. What are the latest developments in this?
Yeah, good evening, Dylan. So we found out today that there are 3 more lies on top of the countless lies that George Santos has told and admitted. First and foremost, he said that he was forced to leave a New York City private school because of hard times that his family had with their real estate dealings, except the school said that he never went there. Second, he said that he represented Goldman Sachs at a financial conference, except Goldman Sachs said that wasn't true, and the conference said that they had no recollection of him being at that conference. And then the last thing is that he claimed to have a Jewish and Ukrainian last name that was coming from his family heritage, except those that were tracking that down said, again, that's not true. And that's just on top of all of these other different lies that he has had as far as workplace experience, education, religious background, what have you. And he's facing a lot of mounting pressure here in Washington before he even gets here.
Yeah, definitely a lot of mounting issues here. Now, we understand there is a federal investigation into this. What potential ramifications is he facing?
Yeah, so not only is there a federal investigation, but there's also a county-wide investigation in Nassau County in Long Island. And we've also learned now that there's a city investigation in Queens, New York. So as far as legal ramifications go, he's facing 3 different potential prosecutions, just investigations at this time, looking into some of his financial dealings at the federal level and how he loaned himself $700,000 and where that money actually came from. But politically here, look, he is one of 222 House Republicans set to be in the new Congress. And as of right now, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, who's trying to become the next speaker, he has not commented on this. Neither have his number 2 or his number 3 in leadership. You've had some at the rank and file level call for House ethics investigations and potential criminal probes from the Department of Justice. But as of right now, there is nothing stopping him from being sworn in next Tuesday unless he decides to resign. But then after that, we'll see whether or not there are any investigations that come on Capitol Hill. But the only way he could get removed is from a process that is called expulsion, where it would take 2/3 of the House, and we don't know if the political will is there to do that.
Got it. Well, it's definitely a wait-and-see situation as this plays out. You mentioned the new incoming Congress. I want to talk about that for a second. Let's focus on the Democrats. They're going to have a massive shakeup in leadership in the House. What can you tell us about the House Minority Leader, House Minority Whip, and Caucus Chair?
Yeah, so the top 3 positions in the House Democratic Caucus are going to all be about 30 to 40 years younger than the current leadership in place. You just start at the top. Hakeem Jeffries, 52 years old. He's replacing 82-year-old Nancy Pelosi. He's going to become the House Minority Leader, basically the leader of the Democrats in the House. Now, remember, Nancy Pelosi was the first woman to lead a major political party. Hakeem Jeffries will become the first black person to lead a major political party. He's currently the chair of the House Democratic Caucus. He's been in Congress since 2013. Number 2 is Catherine Clark. She is currently the assistant speaker, but she is going to be number 2 for the House Dems in the next Congress. She's taking over for Maryland Congressman Steny Hoyer, who's also in his 80s. And then number 3 in line is Pete Aguilar from California. He is currently the vice chair of the Democratic caucus. He also served on the January 6th committee. But the biggest thing of all is that it's going to be more diverse, a lot younger, and more liberal, if you will. And it's history making because you have a black person, you have a woman, and you have a Latino all serving. Makes it a lot more diverse for the Democrats.
Definitely a lot to keep an eye on there in D.C. Our Hawaii News Now Washington correspondent Josh Rottenberg, thank you so much for your time today.
Well, just hours ago, we learned of the passing of one of the greatest soccer players of all time. We're talking about Pele. He passed away at the age of 82. Don Riddell takes a look back at his life and legacy.
When the world knows you by just one name, you have truly succeeded. Pele is regarded by many as the greatest footballer of all time. His humble demeanor and generous spirit have guaranteed his legacy as a global icon.
This is a big responsibility, you know. I feel very comfortable because something I cannot answer was why God gave me this, this gift. This was a gift from God, and I try to be in my best. I try to respect people. I try to prepare myself. I try to be always in good shape. The most important, respect people.
Raised in the slums of Sao Paulo in the 1940s, Edson Arantes de Nascimento discovered football at a young age. He made his debut for Santos at the age of just 16, and within a year he was scoring goals for the Brazilian national team. By this time he was better known by his nickname, Pelé, and in 1958, at 17, he became the youngest man to play in a World Cup final, scoring twice as Brazil beat Sweden. It was the first of 3 world titles he'd helped win for his country. He electrified audiences with his fancy footwork and ability to score seemingly impossible goals, so it was something of a disappointment that his 1000th goal was a penalty.
A friend of mine, he's a comic guy in Brazil. He say, listen, God stopped the game because everyone has to see your 1000 goal. That's the reason it was the penalty kick.
After his goal, the game against Vasco da Gama was stopped for several minutes to celebrate his landmark achievement. In 1967, Pelé learned that he and his team had the power to stop other things too, when their visit to Nigeria prompted warring factions to call a 48-hour ceasefire in the country's civil war.
We stopped war because the people are so crazy for football. They love football. They stopped the war to see Santos play in Africa. This is a fantastic, it's something who you cannot explain.
By the time Pelé retired as a footballer in 1977, playing his final years for the Cosmos in New York, he'd amassed a career total of 1,281 goals. For Pelé, that was half a lifetime ago, but his infectious love of the game ensured that he remained relevant. He served as a UN ambassador for ecology and the environment. He rubbed shoulders with state leaders all over the world, and he received an honorary knighthood from Queen Elizabeth in 1997. And who could forget his appearance in the cult movie Escape to Victory?
Kobe, after giving me ball, here I do these, go. Easy.
When he starred alongside Michael Caine and Sylvester Stallone, playing a prisoner of war who scored a spectacular, morale-boosting goal in a game against the Germans.
I think, first of all, is a gift from God. Second, I think it was a lot of hard work and training. And I have to say thanks to God, because my father was a football player, was a center forward. And then my father was a very, perfectionist, And then everything who I used to do, I tried to do, he used to say, listen, you must to be better than that.
He's always been a global icon, but in his native Brazil, he'll always be regarded as a national treasure. His passing is cause for national mourning, and as he so humorously put it himself, there will never be another Pelé.
To be the new Pelé would be very difficult, because my mother and my father, they closed the machine.
And we have much more on his passing right now on your H&N digital platforms. Also breaking right now on those platforms, we've learned of yet another passing. Vivienne Westwood has passed away at the age of 81. She's an iconic fashion designer, really brought to life the punk movement of the 80s. Again, she's passed away at the age of 81. We've just published a story about her as well on those H&N digital platforms. Taking it live outside right now, switching gears. Got to get a check of your New Year's forecast. Here's Guy Hoggy.
Look at that pineapple connection, that atmospheric river, taking Pacific moisture into the west coast. That's going to be the case for the next few days. And all of that moisture going to basically miss us. It'll pass by to the north of us. So we're not expecting significant rainfall anytime soon, although it looks like on Thursday, a tail end of one of those fronts might come in. That's next week, Thursday. So for today and for the days beyond, things look really, really calm. So we've got the light winds today, variable winds. We could get some afternoon clouds today. And then tomorrow, a light trade wind breeze takes over, but the winds will run pretty slow. So that means in the New Year's Eve celebration, it's likely to be smoky, hazy, and maybe even a little bit humid. And then variable winds come in on Monday. Hopefully the air will clear out by New Year's Day.
One of many illegal erosion barriers on Oahu's North Shore is now gone. As our Daryl Huff reports, the threat of hefty fines appears to have encouraged the homeowner to clean up his mess.
Just a few months ago, where I'm standing was concrete placed illegally to protect this home from erosion. Now you can see the homeowner has chipped it away, but there's still a lot of pieces of debris left on the beach. Owner Joshua Van Emmerich was facing thousands in fines, and his attorney said he would meet state and county deadlines to remove the concrete. He apparently did, using hand tools to take down the concrete and rebar. Outgoing Land Board Chair Suzanne Case can't talk about the specific case, but says fines do work sometimes.
It does make a difference because, you know, we do have examples of coastal landowners, you know, recognizing that we're not just going to lie down and let the beach disappear.
But alongside the Van Emmerich house are many other erosion measures the state has ordered removed but still remain, often while the homeowners take advantage of their right to contest the violations. Case says that system needs to change.
It is time-consuming and expensive, and I do think it needs to be streamlined because it really has created a huge backlog. We have dozens of violations of for coastal erosions.
But like in the Mauna Kea telescope dispute, the contested case system has been used by cultural and environmental groups to fight controversial decisions by DLNR.
Streamlining is often a euphemism for getting rid of or really minimizing public input.
But other legal experts say when it comes to enforcement, especially where damage to the environment is ongoing, the law could be changed to allow the agency to take down illegal structures immediately.
DLNR should be able to quickly be able to remove that at the homeowner's expense, using contractors, you know, approved contractors who can both protect the shoreline and do the best job possible removing those kinds of very tricky and often deteriorating structures.
As homeowners fight the land board or try and negotiate, time goes by and so does erosion. And we're seeing more and more debris like this foul the beaches. That's why Case says a legislative fix is urgent. Reporting from the North Shore, Daryl Huff, Hawaii News Now.
We've got some good entertainment news to get to now. SNL alum comedian Chris Kattan was on Sunrise today to tell us about his upcoming show in Waikiki at the Blue Note.
Well, I mean, I've been to this island, but I've not been to the downtown area. I was here briefly, I think, to have dinner, and that was it. But there's a lot going on downtown. I had no idea. Yeah, it's like Vegas. It's a little. It's like, nicer than Vegas. But I mean, I mean, well, outside from the hotel, it sounds like Vegas.
Yeah.
But no, the Blue Note's really a beautiful club, and we're doing 2 shows tonight. I'm performing twice tonight, and but yeah, no, Hawaii's incredible. So I couldn't lose the opportunity to come here and just and the weather's amazing.
Yeah, sorry about that.
It's a real insult.
Yeah, like you got to use sunblock in the middle of winter over here.
So annoying.
You got to ditch that sweater. Get a tank top.
Ditch the sweater. Yes, I know.
Okay, so coming up, you got 2 shows tonight. What do you want people to know about your show, real quickly, if they haven't seen you before?
That it's that it's funny, and that I do like to include the audience. I like to keep it fresh. And I do like to improvise and make up stuff as I go along. And I like to include the audience just to, just make it, every show is different than the next show. It's not like, oh, I just did the same 20 minutes, or I just did the same, set as usual. I'm not one of those comics. I like to develop new things and experiment and stuff like that. So just keep it fresh. I really enjoy doing that.
Finally, after you're done with your show tonight, are you going to have some downtime here, or are you automatically off to the next place?
Well, no, New Year's Eve, we're going to be here for New Year's Eve. We're going to, at some point, probably tomorrow, drive up to the North Shore.
Oh, yeah, get some waves. The waves will be good for you.
Yeah, get some waves, because you can tell about my body shape. I surf all the time. So I will, I want to go up there.
All right,
hear
you'll
beautiful
love it.
things about that.
Yeah, you will love
it. So I'm a nurture. Well, I guess I am too. I'm a nature person, but so I like to explore. So I definitely want to go up there.
Awesome. All right.
See this. But this is the morning cast.
Yeah.
The whole morning cast came out to sit with me. This is very,
well, you're waking us up,
big
man.
deal.
Otherwise, we stay out there, we fall asleep.
Is that the excuse?
And like we like to say in Hawaii, you somebody, man.
Yeah.
You somebody, man?
You somebody.
I can say that? Won't be racist?
No.
You somebody, man.
There you go.
All
Chris
right, I'll make
Kattan,
sure.
he's somebody. He's going to be at the Blue Note, so check out somebody. Chris Kattan.
Yeah.
2 shows. It's at the bottom of your screen. Go ahead and contact Blue Note Hawaii for tickets.
I want to go to that show.
You still got time. Go get your tickets.
Let's see what else the internet is buzzing about today. And more amazing video coming in from last week's storm. Check this out. This is from Ontario. Houses were encased in thick, spiky coats of ice after that storm blizzard whipped through with frigid waves on shore. Residents at Fort Erie. This is a community that is also known as Crystal Beach. That's ironic, right? Yeah, they said those waves were crashing over there at Lake Erie over the breakwall during the storm, and that caused those wind-whipped waves to shoot some water up on those houses. Really covered a lot. We've seen a lot of images like this.
That almost looks like a Christmas village, or like a model set.
Yeah, like
of
a Hallmark
toy homes.
thing. Yeah.
That is some incredible visual images right there.
Yeah, you got to watch out for falling icicles when
Yeah.
you are dealing with the melt of that stuff too. What'd you find, Dylan?
Well, American Girl Dolls has unveiled their 2023 Girl of the Year. Meet Kavika Sharma. Some good news about her. With the sales of these dolls, American Girls will also be donating scholarships, thousands of dollars worth, to help kids enjoy Broadway camp. So if you see her in stores, think about picking her up for a loved one.
On Broadway. Oh, I can't do it.
Please don't.
All right. Have a good one. I'll stop singing. Bye-bye, guys.